Shalom. All praises to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honor unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, laboring the word and doctrine. Shalom Nabachea, peace unto the elect. And here we are in Titus, the second chapter. I know what the title is. In all things, in fact, shewing thyself. In fact, it's like a pattern of good works. That's what we'll call it. Right. So this is Titus 2, starting at the top. It said, but speak thou the things which become sound doctrine. And we're going to look at the word for sound. So again it says, but speak thou the things which become sound doctrine. So sound is, in fact, we'll listen to him say, a bit hygiene, innit? Hygienic. I believe it was Gaia, which is a fake dirty idol, but it's basically the god or the revered one of cleanliness. So you get the term hygiene. Hugiaino, what do I know? It says to be sound, to be well, to be in good health, metaphor of Christians whose opinions are free from any mixture of error. Hey, there's a lot of mixture of error within the quote-unquote Israelite doctrine, which really there's only one doctrine, the true doctrine. But you'll take a bit from this, you'll mix it with that, and then you've got this new doctrine. You'll take a bit of Christianity, so-called, gentilic Christianity, you'll mix it a bit of Israelite, and then you'll take a little bit of Quranic Muslim vibes and try and mix it all together. But this, you have to be hygienic with it, right? You can't mix it up. So it says metaphorically of Christians whose opinions are free from any mixture of error, so that of one who keeps the grace and is strong. And then it says here, sound 6 times, be sound once, be whole once, forgive me for that. Wholesome once, be in health once, safe and sound. Yeah, you have that idea, safe and sound still today. At certain more regional places, so not like the big cities and everything, they may say, oh, sound, you're right, yeah, I'm sound, mate. So that's still a common thing in England at least. I only said in Israel. In England at least. But speak the other things which become sound doctrine. What's a doctrine? What is doctrine? Didaskalia. Teaching, instruction, teaching that which is taught, doctrine, teaching, precepts. So really there could only be one teaching. As of course there's many teachers, but they'd have to teach what Hamashiach Yahawashi taught, what the apostles taught, when they were correct, when the disciples taught when they were correct. Because there's one infallible man, you could say, and that's Yahawashi Hamashiach. Titus 2 and 2, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience. And just because it says aged men, that doesn't mean that the younger men, we shouldn't take heed unto this. You understand? Because this is what we're growing into. It's only a matter of years, and then you become an aged man, a presbyter, where you get the term Presbyterian. It just means an elder. Certain times it talks about the elders. Bring them to the elders. Is any sick among you? Bring them to the elders, and they'll pray among. I believe that's James 5 and 14. Right, the word for elders there. Yeah, presbyteros. It's the same root. Back to Titus 2. So the aged men, the presbytes, the presbytes, right, be sober. And let's listen to this. Or let's look at this and listen. Nephalios. Said sober, temperate, abstaining from wine, either entirely or at least from its immoderate use, i.e. being a drunkard, right, of things free from all wine as vessels, offerings. And then it says sober twice, vigilant twice. And you have the idea of wine, of doctrines. For example, Revelation 17, 1 and 2, 18, 1 and 2, Habakkuk, I believe that's 2 and 4, we'll see, Lord willing. Revelation 17, 1 and 2, and there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So the wine, what's the wine there? Let's look at that word. And the word is literally wine. But then what does that word mean?
Strong's G3631.
Oinos. So it says wine, metaphorically fiery wine of Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi's wrath. It says oinos comes from yayan, which is this root. Obviously that means wine. And you can look that wine. Sound like a cool. Wine 23, wine press once with G3125. So the wine, and let's look at this as well. Put his bottle by his neighbour, heapeth all nations unto him. Right, 2 and 5, Habakkuk 2 and 5, not 2 and 4. But in fact, what's that for? Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. So you have to live by the faith in Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. Not just faith in a tree, or that faith that mud is there, or faith that grass exists. So, we have faith in that. There's many things you have to apply faith to, like I was saying the other day, like etymologies, or something like that. Somewhat, you can't go into that and say, well, look, I was there, I went back in a time machine 1,000 years ago, and it turns out that in Middle English they did use that word. So you still have to apply a level of faith. But that faith, just because you believe in a certain etymological definition, that's not going to get you saved. So the true faith that we have to live by is the faith in Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. And the names are important as well. Can't neglect that. Like I said, Acts 4 and 12, there's one name whereby we must be saved. Must be saved. Right, so if you haven't got the name, or if no one's got the name, who's going to get saved? Things to think about. Habakkuk 2 and 5, yea also, because he transgresseth by wine, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So you shouldn't be like that. And let's put bottle neighbour. We're not to emulate that. We're to be sober from that wine. Right, Habakkuk 2 and 15 said, woe unto him that giveth his neighbour drink, that putteth thy bottle to him. Now, is it wrong to give your brother a drink? Right, but making your neighbour drunk by drink, that's a different thing. So you always have to understand moderation. People say, see, so the Quran's right, brother, it is haram. Which really haram, with the haram, is a Hebrew word which means forbidden. But what is forbidden is being a drunkard. It's not forbidden to drink, just to clarify that. Habakkuk 2 and 15, woe unto him that giveth his neighbour drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. And that when you're a drunkard, or when you are drunk, quote unquote, you're not in control of your actions. So that's why when you take the philosophy of E, right, you become drunk. Because you're not sane, you're not in your sound mind. Now let's look, not Acts, Titus. So let's look at these words. We had be sober, be grave, and that's where you get the term gravity. Right, gravity means a heaviness. It's something. Yeah, you tend to say grave nowadays. You don't say that has gravity, because you think of the scientific, so-called, theology around it. And really, it is a theology. Semnos. Let's listen, just to check, or semnos. Who knows?
G4586. Semnos.
Semnos. So when you have a right-leaning accent on an O, it's an os. Remember that. For you up-and-coming Greek scholars out there. It says, august, venerable, reverend, to be venerated for character, honourable, of persons, of deeds. It says, grave 3 times, honest once. It's from this root here. To revere, to worship. Right, it says, worship 6 times, devout, 3 times, religious. And grave, if you're grave, you're serious. There's a level of seriousness to it. Weighty. Like it talks about the weightier matters. I wonder what that word is. Might be related, might not. But we're learning nonetheless. Good. Right, 1 minute, my phone froze. Or this app has. So Matthew 23 and 23. It reads, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, have admitted and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone." See, weightier matters. Okay, baris. Heavy. Oh, that says grievous. Great. Look, there you are. Grave. So at least the Strong's definition did include that as a definition of grave. So it links in somewhat. So sober. So this is, again, to younger men, this is what we're striving to be, because we're aging. We're not getting any younger. So we're becoming elder men. Now, I'm not hoping to be in this captivity when I'm 80. But that doesn't mean we don't strive again for these qualities. Right, to be temperate. That's a good one. Not to say the other ones aren't, but that's, they're all good ones.
Strong's G 4998.
Sophron. Alright, of a sound mind, sane, in one's senses, curbing one's desires and impulses, self-controlled, temperate. It says sober twice, temperate once, discreet once. What is that talking about? Yep. It goes on to that in actually Titus. And it says Titus 2 and 3, the aged women likewise, they being behaviour as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine. So again, that would go into literal soberness. Teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi be not blasphemed. Again, all key qualities. And this word here again, so it says, young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded. And that word there, sophroneo. So it's like sophron, but sophroneo. Let's just hear him say it.
Strong's G 4993.
Sophroneo, forgive me. Right, to be of sound mind, to be in one's right mind, to exercise self-control, to put a moderate estimate upon one's own self. It's lucky to put a moderate estimate upon oneself. That's a good phrase there. Think of oneself soberly, to curb one's passions. Right, so it says to be be in right mind twice, be sober twice, be sober-minded once, soberly once. When someone says you're out of your mind, now you got to be in your right mind. You got to be sober. And again, drinking wine to excess, it can lead you astray from that, from being on your square. Right, Titus 2 and 7, which is where the title of the lesson comes from. Titus 2 and 7, in all things shewing thyself a pattern of good works, in doctrine shewing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity. So again, although it said the elder men or the aged men are to be grave, sober, now it says here, a pattern of good works, in doctrine showing uncorruptness, gravity, and sincerity. So you're being grave. And uncorruptness, you're being sober as well. You're not being defiled by a different type of wine, a different type of philosophy or doctrine. And then it says, look, soundness. I'm not going to even attempt this one. We'll just hear it.
Strong's G90. Adiapharia. Lexicon. Second entry. Apharia.
Okay. Incorruptibility, soundness, integrity of mind. This is incorruptness. Apparently that's only used once, but there's a root here to corrupt, to destroy. So it's the opposite of that. Okay. Not going to read all of them because it's not the meat of the lesson. Incorruptness. Gravity, semnotes, so again the same root, and sincerity. I think that's so this is the root again. Yep, cool. So what's the? Let's just check the actual difference in the Greek there. So one's aphtharsia and one's adiaphthoria. Let me just check one more time. Alright, so one's 5351. Right, and the other. Yep, 5351. Cool. To be uncorrupted, undefiled. Right, undefiled. It said Titus 2 and 8, sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you. Which reminds me again of, I think that's 1 Peter 2. And this, no it's not, it's 1 Peter 4, Salakia, forgive me. There we are. Right, 1 Peter 4 and we'll get 14. If you be reproached for the name of Hamashiach, happy are ye, for the spirit of glory and of Yahawah resteth upon you. On their part is even evil spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. Right, so if you're reproached, go into that word. There's been a lot of words today. It's important.
Strong's G 3679. Anaidizo.
You sound like he was fed up at that point. Let's listen to that again.
Strong's G 3679.
3679, if I must. Anyway, Anidzo says to reproach, upbraid, revile, of deserved reproach, of undeserved reproach, to revile, to upbraid, cast, favors received in one's teeth. It talks about just taking it. If you're, I think, is it this chapter? It talks about being buffeted. But basically, if you're, just read the scriptures and stay in the scriptures. It is 1 Peter 2. I knew there's something there. But the one I actually went there, that was correct. 1 Peter 4. But it says 1 Peter 2 and 20. For what glory is it, if when you be buffeted for your faults, you shall take it patiently? But if when you do well and suffer for it, you take it patiently, this is acceptable with Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. And all of these are examples of good works, a pattern of good works. As it says, Titus 2 and 7, in all things shewing thyself a pattern of good works, in doctrine, shewing incorruptness, gravity, sincerity, sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you. I pray that I was edifying. On to the next one, Lord willing. All praises unto Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Racha, Quadash, and I'll be dropping a camp video tomorrow, Lord willing. Shalom.